Hey, I'm Francois from Production Music Live today with producer notes, and we're looking at the style of ARTBAT here in Ableton, only using Ableton stock effects and instruments plus Serum. And we're in this project file called Exhale, which is kind of modeled after a track by ARTBAT called Breathe In, but we're using different harmonies, different melodies. And as mentioned, we are trying to put it all together in Ableton and using Serum. So let's have a quick overview over the track. So we have this little intro here. It's fully arranged. It's lasting like almost 4 minutes. And we have this little Spotify type intro. And then we're introducing melodies on top. And then we sort of enter a break that takes a bit longer. And it's super laid back here. And then we have some trippy vocals. I can't escape my thoughts. It feels like it. And so on. And then we are entering a build-up. With risers and snare rolls. And then we go into this drop. And then we bring in everything full on. And then we have our outro. And everything is organized in different groups. So we have the kick and bass group here. We have a drums group below that. And then we have our synths, melodies, and pad sounds and string sounds in the synths group. And below that, we have a small effects group here with some risers, impacts, crashes, and white noise. And also we have this vocals group that is being applied here in the break part. And who are ARTBAT? A Ukrainian duo formed by Artur and Bartish from Kiev. Started around 10 years ago. They do this mix between progressive deep house, melodic techno, and techno elements. And they're known for tracks like their remix for Return to Oz from Monolink, Tibet, and Breathe In, a track that we are sort of remodeling after today. They've released on labels like Upper Ground and Embassy One and played major festivals like Tomorrowland, Awakenings, and Burning Man. Their style contains powerful melodies, rich textures, epic emotive soundscapes and chord progressions, and often very clear sound design and clean low end. So in order to set up the harmonies for this one, I was looking for a chord progression to remodel the pads after, and I was thinking, okay, epic, we can borrow something from Hans Zimmer here, so let's start with the pads and come up with an epic chord progression. And I was actually borrowing the one from Time. So basically we have A minor, E minor, G major, and D major. That's the chord progression of Time, the Inception soundtrack from Hans Zimmer. And then I'm putting stuff on top of that. Let's quickly listen in. So let's put it together. Let's bring down these two notes. And we see we have an A minor, A C minor third, and C E major third, and then again a minor third. So in this case, an A minor seventh chord. But I'm voicing these up and C as well. And I'm keeping G, completely stable. I'm actually is resting into the last chord as well as this upper note. So more or less the change is happening in the bass region here, and we are stabilizing it up here. And also with D, very stable chord progression through these D and G notes here. And the second chord is E minor, bringing E up so we can see it properly, G down. G is already here, so I don't have to bring it down. So we have, and there's one missing here. So actually what we don't hear is B. But B is being played with a different instrument. So it's also going to end up being an E minor 7th. And then we are playing G, we are voicing that one up again an octave. And then after that we have G, G major. Almost sounds like a start of a Christmas carol if you play this one in solo. And the last chord, and we're keeping G stable here, but let's look at the last chord by checking it here where A is up. So D, it's also a major chord, bring A down. Clear D major chord. Major third, minor third, and then we have the octave jump here. So bringing this back up, bring this one back down, just so we know our chord progression. It's the root notes are A, E, G, and D. And you could now say, well, this seems to be in the G major scale, but it could also be in the A Dorian mode. So just to illustrate this, let's put in G major here. So it works with our G major scale. All notes are displayed in green, but we can also put it into A and into the Dorian mode. That would also work. Depends a bit on the quality of the track and how the other elements are playing together. Is it more resting here? Or is it rather resting here? And then somebody might argue even it's resting here. So in some kind of E minor. It doesn't sound too resting to me, so my debate is more between A Dorian and G major in this case. This could be the tonic. Okay, so that was a lot of pad analysis, chord analysis. Well, we didn't look at the pad sound. Let's quickly check that out first. Simple saw waves, 8 of them in detuned like this, and then we put a filter on top, not making it too complicated here. We still have this sub oscillator active here with a little bit of a sine wave, and then we have this utility automating the gain over time, and then we're cleaning up frequencies we don't want to emphasize on, and this shaper here is serving as our sidechain on this track. So fairly straightforward. Let's take a look at the lead sound on top. So together, actually let's look at the MIDI together. So sometimes the melody is picking up notes right from our chord progression, and then we have a little bit of tension building up here with E, with A here, and with B in A, and with this F sharp here as well. We are playing saw waves here as well, unison 7, detuned in this fashion. And the filters are fairly open here. Let's take a look at the chain. There's another auto filter at the back of the chain that allows us to automate this one over time. So we still have full control here in the back, but basically we are adding in a little bit of, we're using ARTBAT slightly as an LFO. Let's take a look at where we're doing this. That's how we are adding in this vibrato. Is super cool. If you set ARTBAT to phase 0, set it to hertz, and then automate the rate, you can also shape it differently, but you have this round sine wave shape, so it's very nicely, evenly played out. And then you're playing around with the amount. So that's a cool trick, making your sounds move around, especially if they're so heavily sustained, like this melody lead here. And then afterwards, we're basically just cleaning up the sound and sidechaining it to our kick, and then adding some reverb on top. But I don't want to go through this too much here because it's fairly standard sound. So let's take a look at the other harmonic elements. Here we have the high string on top. And this one is playing G5. So this typical house tension high string element, in this case played out with Serum as well. And another saw wave up here combined with the basic mini. So if you need it more gritty, you level this in. And if you need it softer, the basic mini, which has a bit more sine wavy feel, might already do it for you. This one is also side-chained with the shaper and the utility. So the shaper controls the gain of the utility with this shape kind of working like an LFO tool. And we are playing G. So the same note we are also playing here on top of our chord progression, very stable. Playing that up 2 octaves higher, and then we also have arpeggios again following this chord progression without the bass notes down here. So let's take a look at the sound. Square waves. We could hear some square waves here already, and saw and triangle. So a mixture between a saw wave and a triangular wave. And we have this one in 7 voices and this one in 4 voices. Bit of reverb on top here with verb size 18% and the reverb set to plate. And this compressor set to multi-band to really kick out those upper frequencies. But we're cleaning that up here with this EQ8. And the arpeggio is being put together through the arpeggiator. If we turn that off, actually that's just playing mono. So we don't even play the chord. We have this set to mono. So we need to put in the arpeggiator here, which is set to up, and rate is set to 16th notes. And we're also sending these through SYNTHS. Let's quickly look at the return channels. We have a long reverb on channel A here with decay time of 10 seconds, so very long and epic one. And where we are also going into delay, which is just a feedback 21% 3x3 delay here set to ping pong. And while we're at it, we have this room reverb here with a very short decay time for drum elements. And then we also have this rear bus, which is a glue compressor and then cleaned up in the low frequencies. Let's take a look at later what this is actually doing. And then you see in this climax part here at the end, we have an upper melody on top of the other one. So let's quickly take a look at what's happening with that one. It's sort of introducing itself one bar before it actually starts. it's just going wild. It has these octave jumps here going up and down. So it starts with the root note. Or does it? Oh no, that's the bar before. Sorry, it starts with C and then goes super high up, and it does this all the time. So we are really trying to get the feels out of here. So high octave jumps in the climax part help you enter feeling. So let's listen to all of them together. Let's quickly put all the MIDI together and take a look. Yeah, and we can see they overlay pretty nicely here. We have E, C, G is our chord progression, and then we have the C replicated down here with one of those upper elements playing C, A, and then also E in between, A, B in between, A here in between, but everything else pretty much sitting on top of our chord progression. So it's very stable, but we are playing it in different octaves. Okay, so let's add in a bass sound here, or both bass sounds, so we have something to look at. Serum, Serum, bass, bass. So first of all, we have this Reese bass. Playing the root notes of our chords. Yeah, and we have 8 voices of the saw wave here plus a sine wave below it, and we're running that through an 18 decibels per octave low pass filter. And we're setting it to mono. And this utility in set to mono here is making sure that we are not messing with our phase in the low frequencies. And on top of that, we have the bass roll sitting 16th notes. Same notes, and we are playing that one with the basic shapes set to saw wave as well, but then put in bend plus minus mode here all the way up 100% warped to minus, and that's when it shapes out like this. Envelope 2 controlling the filter here. Unison set to 7 voices, detuned like that, and then a bit of distortion, bit of dimension and hyper on top of that, just ever so slightly mixed in, plus a phaser. And this auto filter here already rolling off low end. This one here for the high frequencies, you can see that one brings it in after a drop over time. And here we have an EQ8 cleaning up. And then we have 2 utilities controlling gain over time, and this one controls the width a bit. And looking at the bass group, we see a bit of processing here, a bit of OTT. But even though there are many devices here, it's not too crazy what's going on. We have a sidechain here, and then we have this shaper tool here, and then we have a bunch of utilities and a bit of EQing. But this is the process of remaking a reference track. There's nothing really to learn here from this processing, so I'm going to skip that, and we are going to put in the kick. Long tail on this kick. Bit emphasized here around 45, and together with the bass. Okay, and now we notice we actually have to put the sidechain up here. Forgot about that one, but that was a bit nasty. So let's put it all together. There you go, together with the other elements. Okay, over to the drums group. We have the snare sound here. This one is being mixed into the room reverb here on the return channel, and it's a straightforward snare sound from D Premium Volume 3, bit of reverb on top, and then cleaning up some of the low end. Slight compression. And here below we have the same rack with this build-up snare. That's just a bunch of snares played together. And you can hear some auto panning on those. And there you can find the automation. So this is also panned around. Makes that sound a bit more natural, if you will, in electronic music. Then we have this clap impact element here. Bunch of claps layered together. Cymbal on top and a long reverb tail, and we're playing that 2 beats before the hit. What else do we have? Hi-hats here. Let's copy them over. And if you listen to the stuff in solo, you're thinking, hey, this is not like the cleanest sound. It's crazy that this works together. Right? But this is also maybe this breathe in track is not the perfect example for the sound of ARTBAT, because usually they're very, very clean arrangements, very clean and straightforward drum programming, and very clean sound design, almost like leaving, it almost feels sometimes like they're leaving room for something else, maybe for somebody to sing in. But on the other hand, that allows these tracks to be played out loudly on festival systems, because they're not overwhelming you with a lot of ear candy and all this kind of stuff. They're kind of, you know, straightforward, almost static, but like loud and clean, very clear. In a way. Also, the arrangements are very clear. They're not really like doing lots of mini breaks and stuff like that. Maybe that's another project I could go through. This Unbroken one here is a good example. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do a walkthrough through this one as well. But let's keep going. Here we have 2 more hi-hat loops combined with the hat elements. And I'm not going to go through them too much here. This one is a top loop. And this one is another hat loop. Here we have a bit of shuffle. And then we have these closed hats on top. And that's it already. This is the drumming. Nothing crazy happening here. Very, very straightforward. And let's take a look at the elements that we didn't look at. We have a bunch of R's here in ATMOs. And again here. Then we have these Atmo sounds here. That's a nice one as well. Phase verb. But actually we just hear this noise. I can turn this off, huh? Yeah. just working with this noise, and we are shaping out the low frequencies and then throwing a lot of reverb on top. And we have this other Atmo. Nice droney Atmo sound here. And then we have a bunch of effects here. Downlifter, crash, impact, and some white noise. Nothing crazy. And then we have a bunch of vocals here filling up this break part that we are going to play through in a minute. I was just looking for some vocals that can be used to hold the place here, so I took some longer phrase from one of our vocal packs and pitched it down 11 semitones, and then did some vocoder action on the left and on the right with a copy. Here using the Spectral Resonator, taking the MIDI from our pads that are playing up here as input. So we're taking this MIDI as input and picking up here in the Spectral Resonator. If we just listen to this one. So that's how you can shift through the octaves and mess around with Spectral Resonator as a vocoder. We have a reverse vocal recording here leading us into the vocals group. I can't escape my thoughts. It feels like it. So nothing crazy, just a bunch of vocals used as placeholders here, and this is actually a female vocal sample, so it's heavily modified and manipulated to sort of fit in here. Okay, so let's gain a little bit of overview over the project and have a quick summary. So the typical ARTBAT style is using rolling bass lines a lot, here combined with a respace in this case. But otherwise keeping it very clean and very straightforward. Also in their drummings, they keep it clean and straightforward. Not too much playfulness here, not too much ear candy and extravaganza. Also very clean arrangements and very clearly structured ones. Perfect for playing in the club, perfect for playing on a festival stage, because they're not making it too complicated. And then they always sort of combine that with epic chords, with emotive soundscapes and rich textures. And if we go to our synths and pads group here, we try to model this here. Tempo here in this case is 127 BPM, so on the faster note, and they also in their break parts or also around their drop parts, I always feel like there's a little bit of room. You could sing some vocals on top there, and that's sort of makes it perfect for them to remix other people's tracks that have vocals, kind of like Return of Oz from Monolink and stuff like that. And that's another characteristic element of their sound, in my opinion. And now we'll have a full playthrough.
can't escape my thoughts. It feels like it evolves. I can't escape my place. It's killing me inside. I can't escape my thoughts. It feels like it evolves. I can't escape my place.